Curious, because it was about 2 weeks ago, we saw Johnny Gaudreau get benched in a game in Columbus by Pascal Vincent, and then last night it happened again as both Patrick Laine and Gaudreau found the bench. You see there on a tweet, 6:15, the last 6:15, Gaudreau did not play. Laine almost half of the third period. Now just because it's Gaudreau and it's Calgary, I don't see any way that Gaudreau ever gets back here, but it hasn't been it's just interesting, right? Sometimes how it goes. You can't even argue that the Huberdeau fit hasn't been great here. It does not seem like the Gaudreau fit has been great there. Laine's been miscast there right from the start. I feel like between Winnipeg and Columbus, he's been a malcontent for about a decade. I guess just what do you see going on in Columbus? What possibly can you do there?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Pascal Vincent has the support of Jarmo Kekalainen and the general manager and maybe senior management on top of that. Otherwise, it makes no sense. You know, they're losing 1-goal hockey games with these sort of antics. I can appreciate Johnny Gaudreau isn't playing the way that they demand or they expect, that full two-way commitment, all of that. I understand it. But Johnny Gaudreau, as you guys well know, can turn the game on its head in a real quick period of time. You know, one shift, he can generate a couple of goals. He's that level of talent. So there's clear level message sending here. And obviously the head coach would have had face-to-face meetings with Gaudreau and Patrick Laine before going to this extreme. But how many 1-goal games do you lose when you park your top end talent on the bench before ownership knocks on the door? Hey, Jarmo, before the start of the season, you're telling our fan base that you feel like we have a good enough roster to compete for a playoff spot. We're a playoff worthy team. And now you're sitting our $68 million player for better than 6 minutes. I don't understand it, but I guess we shouldn't be surprised when you look at management. And I'm a supporter of Jarmo Kekalainen because he's a good dude. Number one, he's a good guy. But if you look at the history of his hirings, he hires John Tortorella. Okay, they had success with Torts. Let's give Torts a little bit of credit, but he ultimately has a shelf life, had to be replaced. Then they landed with Mike Babcock, which was an unmitigated disaster. Didn't even get to the bench this year. Well, they hire coaches who are going to hold these guys accountable. But at some point, guess what? That accountability shifts over to the general manager. And those questions are now being asked by ownership going, we invested 68 schmil in Johnny Hockey, and you got him parked on the bench. And another superstar in Patrick Laine parked on the bench. We can't continue to do this. So figure out a different way to get your message across.
It feels like he was a hot seat before all this stuff started happening. Yeah. Like, to be fair, that's a long time he's been working on that roster that just hasn't yet crescendoed.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I guess you admire loyalty, right? And the reason you do is because how rare it is in pro sport. It doesn't matter what sport. You know, everyone has a boss, and when the owner comes asking tough questions, you better have the answers, or accountability hurts, especially in the pocketbook. So I hear you, and we kind of skirted over it. I mean, there's always speculation when teams don't do well, and there was all kinds of speculation last year as to whether or not they would make a full-scale change in Columbus, and that includes a new general manager, and they didn't do that. And they allowed Jarmo to hire Babcock, and away they went. And then when they had to fire Babcock, or they mutually agreed to part ways, many of us wondered, okay, well, maybe they sweep the whole place clean here in hockey operations, and they still didn't do it. So, I mean, if this team fails to qualify for the playoffs, I guess we have to give them the benefit of the doubt based on the number of games that they have to play in the regular season. But if they don't make it, then there's got to be change coming.
Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And, of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.